Malcolm X's strident critique of the nonviolent philosophy of the civil rights movement sowed the seeds for the flowering of black nationalism in the second half of the 1960s. Malcolm spent his youth in northern and midwestern cities, but he was profoundly transformed in prison when he joined the Nation of Islam, a religious movement led by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It combined black nationalism with the Islamic faith and embraced the concept of black self-defense.
Malcolm X realized that while Martin Luther King was preaching nonviolence and peace, you had to send a message. He was a warrior, he was a general, and they feared him.
Malcolm encouraged his followers to achieve empowerment
by any means necessary. We intend to fire our people up so much until if they can't have their equal share in the house, they'll burn it down.
Dr. King felt that Malcolm's talk of violence was counterproductive and ultimately would, quote, reap nothing but grief.
The Negroes themselves should take whatever steps necessary to defend themselves.
Malcolm X's influence was profound in terms of the way African Americans looked at themselves and the way that the nation began to look at them. It called for black dignity, black self-respect.
Malcolm was adamant that words associated with slavery, such as Negro and colored, should be discarded for black and Afro-American. His theories and his philosophy formed the foundation of the ideology of black power.
Malcolm X is the key common denominator for all black power activists. They use his speeches, they use his political thought, both in the Nation of Islam and outside of the Nation of Islam, as a sort of blueprint or framework for their own political activism.
In 1965, President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act, bringing down one of the last legal vestiges of Jim Crow segregation. Just 5 days later, an altercation between an unarmed black man and the police sparked riots on the streets of Watts, a predominantly black neighborhood in Los Angeles. The riots revealed that America still faced deep racial issues, and in the coming years, urban unrest roiled cities across the nation.
Dr. King's message of nonviolence wore thin as the 1960s progressed, particularly because violence is everywhere.
As race relations deteriorated, Stokely Carmichael, a young, charismatic, electrifying speaker, was searching for a new way to reframe the civil rights struggle. And he found it through one resonant metaphor.
It's time we stand up and take over. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power. We want black power. We want black power.
The civil rights movement had been extraordinarily successful, but there has not necessarily been the tangible transformation in black people's living conditions. Carmichael is making an argument that only black power will take black people to that next level.
Hey, what do you want? That's what we gonna get.
The effect is electrifying. Soon after, black power groups were organizing across the country, each with their own idea about what the phrase actually meant.
You got everybody from those that are saying, yes, let's go for elected office, to those that say, let's overthrow the government.
It called for self-determination.
Black power marked a startling shift in the civil rights movement and in the evolution of black consciousness.
Black power is really going to inspire a whole new wave of black elected officials and inspire the black arts movement, using culture to transform what we think of as black identity. Proud, strong black women and men.
Black, the word that for decades so many African Americans most dreaded being called, almost overnight became both a battle cry and a badge of honor.